What's up, everybody? It is Sunday night, and after a long weekend of building this, I'm finally done building my RDWC modular flower room system. I just got done. I just filled it up with water and did the leak check, and so far there's no leaks, but everything's looking great. If you guys haven't yet, please like, comment, subscribe. I should have my plants transferred into this baby if you want to see how it grows within the next couple of days. But either way, let's just take a quick look here and then we can get into how I built it. So here's what's going on here. We got bubbles and we got waterfalls. And here's the reservoir over here. Looking pretty good with the chiller pumping in there and everything else. So either way, like I said, if you guys haven't yet, please like, comment, subscribe, and then let's get into this. And if you guys want to see any of my other builds before I get into the other building videos, look under my page and look at my playlist. And I have a playlist called Builds, and it's just a bunch of random stuff that random hydroponic stuff I built. But I will be having a couple more builds coming up soon. But either way, let's get into this build and show you how I did everything, why I did everything, and how it went. Either way, let's go. Okay, it's time to build the flower RDWC system. So this is part 3 of the modular RDWC grow series. This is the flower room build, which is just going to be a regular waterfall RDWC system here with 4 plant sites in each quadrant. I'm putting this trash can. I've been waiting for these trash cans to come in from Amazon. I'm putting this trash can in the middle here as the reservoir. The chiller is going to be hooked into it. I haven't decided completely where I'm going to put the chiller. I think I'm going to put it, though, right over here on this side on top of a platform over the pipe that goes through here. So I kind of want to keep it out of the way, and that'll be a great place to keep it out of the way. But either way, this is a nice, tall, skinny reservoir, so I'm not wasting a lot of gallonage here, but I am able to get it up as high as I need to do everything I need to do. And it's narrow enough to fit in here. So this checked all the boxes, so I ordered it off Amazon. Hopefully it'll work fine. It's supposed to be food safe and super sturdy as well, so hopefully it'll do well. I built those extra, I built 4 extra modules because I can't take the modules that are growing plants right now out of the veg tent to build this with. So I built 4 extra modules here that are hopefully identical. Hopefully my quality control is up to up to doing well. Hopefully my quality control is good enough where I can build these the same specs as those and have those be interchangeable with them. So I've got these 4, one for each quadrant here to build in. What I'm going to do first is, actually the first thing I have to do is build some platforms for these to sit on, which is going to be just basically a center block with a piece of wood cut in 2 halves that'll go around that middle part of the bucket for them to sit on. And I need to get that done, get them as low as possible, and then find out where the how high that pipe is going to be off the ground. And at that point I'll run it over here to this thing and cut a hole in there and do my bulkhead gluing. And once that's all taken care of, then I'll run the manifolds for the return lines, or the waterfall lines out every direction. So this is actually a pretty simple build, I think. Hopefully I don't run into any problems for saying that. But let me go ahead and get started here. Like I said, I got the trash in there, but first things first, I need to go get the platforms made for these modules so I can determine the height where I'm going to need to bulkhead this reservoir at. So I'll be back in a second when I'm building the platforms for the modules. Okay, well, I was thinking that I was going to have the center blocks on top of the rubber mats and then put a piece of wood above it with kind of a collar on it, but these center blocks are solid, so this is probably how I'm going to go, just like this. Just leave the center blocks here. If I have to, I may put some little, like a chunk of foam or something in each one of these little holes here to lock these modules in there a little tighter, but I don't think I need to do anything actually. They can just sit on top right there. Now all I gotta do is hook up the manifolds. Well, I gotta do a few things, but next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna lay out all the center blocks and modules in their spots, and then I'm going to make the manifolds into the reservoir there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that tonight. I didn't think I was going to do any more work tonight because it's too late to do any drilling right now or cutting holes, but I can at least set all these modules in their quadrants in the right spot, measure everything, make sure it all looks nice and even, and then I can go ahead and build the manifolds. It'll go into the bucket here. So that's something to do tonight. I can get that done and it'll be pretty dang close to finishing this sucker off. Okay, so what I decided to do, rather than laying all the modules out in their respective locations, what I decided to do was just get that one straight in the middle of that square as good as I can, and then line up the pieces that I'm going to put in together for this one and cut identical pieces for all the quadrants. So I'm going to cut 4 pieces. They're the same size. It'll be going from here to here. So 4 pieces for that size. They're the exact same size, which should get the buckets at least like that in the middle of their own perspective quadrants. And then I'm going to cut 2 pieces that are identical for this length, and I'm going to cut 2 pieces that are identical for the length to the bulkhead in the bucket. So everything will basically match up, at least. Even if it's not identically centered in each quadrant or whatever, it will be equal distance every direction, so it should be pretty close to. If the quadrants are the right dimensions and the right spacing, then the buckets should be all the right spacing as well once I get done cutting identical pieces for the manifolds. So I'm going to go cut the identical pieces for the manifolds. Like I said, I'm doing the drainage manifolds first, the return to the reservoir first, and after I get all that done and it looks like it's working well, I will do the waterfall manifolds shooting out to the buckets. So let me go ahead and get all the drainage manifolds done, or at least drill the holes and do one side of manifolds just to see, make sure everything fits and looks good. Okay, here's the part of the manifold that links the 2 buckets together. Looks like everything fits right. Looks like both these buckets are pretty well centered in their respective quadrant here. So I made that one, and then I made another one for the other side that's the exact same. And now I need to go drill some holes in the reservoir for bulkheads down there at the bottom where it's going to go in. So let me go drill the reservoir, and I'll back in a second when I drill the reservoir and start making pieces of pipe out this way. Well, it's after midnight. I'm in my garage. The door's shut. But yeah, I was saying I couldn't drill because it was too loud, but I can't sleep, and I want to get this done as soon as I can. See if I can get it working and move on with this grow. So I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole for this bulkhead here, and one on the other side for the other bulkhead. And then that's probably about, I'm going to get it down as low as I can get it there, so that it's, the water's running down into this, hopefully, or at least close. And then, well, I can probably get it slightly, yeah, that's probably about it. So that's where I'm going to get it right down, flush the edge there, as low as I can get it. Let's take a look in here. Yeah, it should be fine. So that's where I'm going to cut the hole, about 1.5 inches up from where the bottom of this bucket is. And I think those pipes over there on the other manifold are about 2 inches off the ground, so it should be fine. Should be about right, at least even. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Try and do it fast so the neighbors don't wake up. And I'll be back in a second when I'm done with both of these holes. Okay, those holes are drilled, and now those bulkheads are epoxied using the JB plastic weld epoxy. They are epoxied on there. The bottom one I still have to do the outside like this, basically go over and seal everything. But I've got the inside done. I've got a can sitting on top of it so it's seals well. But yeah, there's the bulkhead hanging out the bottom. Got a little bit of epoxy tank dripping down it, just like over here. But like I said, in my first video when I was making the modules, I ended up using epoxy for the bottom of those bulkheads. I've decided this epoxy stuff works so much better than a bulkhead. There's very little chance of it leaking. There's a chance of it cracking or something going bad like that, but it's not going to leak just because it's not tight enough for the gasket or anything like that. So I'm willing to toss the trash can and the bulkheads if I have to replace this thing, but I'm not willing to have a big flood in my freaking room over there. So, and this is one of the most important parts to not have leaking, because if this part leaks, you can't shut it down. I guess you can kind of shut it down, close off all the other. Anyway, you can't replace it very easy, the reservoir. So the modules, I can replace them real easy. I got an extra trash can over there. So if there was an emergency, I probably could actually drain this one, replace it, I have to rebuild it, the other trash can real quick. Or I might just go ahead and build the second trash can or a reservoir at the same time here. I was thinking about doing something with the other reservoir to actually use it if I wanted to separate half the system from the other side. I was thinking about doing that, but right now I'm just going to go ahead and finish this one reservoir build here, and I'll be done with it in a second here. Like I said, once this is dry, once the bottom dries up a little more and gets tacky, and this one's dry, I can flip it back over and do the outside of the other one, and then I'm going to let it rest overnight and wait until the morning. Hopefully be nice and hard. But so far so good. Everything looks like it's going to be fine here. Got basically the right height I wanted off the bottom here, just about 1.5 inches where the pipe will be, and a little over 1 inch that is. And I think the water will actually be flowing slightly downward into here rather than up or anything from the modules. So far so good, and I'll go ahead and I won't have to show, you know, epoxying the other half of this, but I'll do that tonight, and then come back tomorrow when it's all hard and do the rest of the stuff and pick up where I left off. Okay, it's the next day, and I've got most of this stuff laid out here where it's going to be. The bulkheads are definitely hardened. I wouldn't call it all the way cured, but it is not. It's past tacking, so it's definitely not going anywhere. I would call it cured, I guess. It's not completely cured, but it's cured enough for this kind of job. So anyway, now what I'm going to do is, I've got this trash can exactly in the middle between these two sides. I'm going to cut these two pieces, one for there and one for there, going out to the ball valve that basically goes the rest of the way to the manifold here. That piece is going to be 8.5 inches. That's also being 8.5 inches. So I'm going to cut two 8.5 inches pieces and hook those up. And once I hook those up, I'm going to measure and put the right size piece of PVC out there as well. So 8.5 inches, those two, and then measure that one and get it done. And I'll come back when I've got this whole thing put together. I need to put these two modules in their spots, obviously. Put their center blocks down and everything, but let me go ahead and get that done. Actually, I'll put these things down after I get, so two 8.5 inch pieces. Then I'll find the link for that one, which I'll just make two of those, build this entire manifold, and then lay those out after the manifold's built where they go. So I'm gonna go ahead and come back when everything is hooked up drainage wise, and I'll show that. Okay, the drainage manifold is basically done. So like I said, I measured those inside pieces first, and then I measured the piece that fit together here and put that in. And basically I made mirror images pieces on the other side, so built the whole manifold in that order, and everything seems to be fitting good and nice so far. One thing, these things are working out so far. It'll be a real shame if something goes wrong down the road or a leak or something weird happens. Because as it is right now, these pieces, these ball union valves are exactly the right height. The cinder blocks are the exact right height. The bulkhead over here is the exact right height. These things, these are Kaplan ball valve unions, but these things have this little bracket on the bottom, and it basically sits right on the floor right now with this height of everything, the height of the bulkhead, the height of everything. That little bracket sits right on the floor and makes it, and it doesn't go, and it makes this thing super stable and just right. So all these heights are working out. This is just a fluke, by the way, but the reason it has the bracket, which I figured out, is that when you have the bracket on there, you can spin this thing and it gives it clearance for the little the collars here to spin. Instead of like clicking on the floor, you can spin them freely because that bracket gives them the exact right amount of clearance where you can, you know, where they're not rubbing on something when you're trying to spin them. But either way, so everything is in place here. I'm gonna go to Home Depot and buy 2 more cinder blocks. I ran out of cinder blocks. But so far so good. Everything is looking awesome with the drainage manifold, obviously. So I'll come back from Home Depot with my cinder blocks, put the last manifold in place here, and then I will start working on the Waterfall manifold that goes to each of these buckets. So once I get on with the Waterfall manifold, the build will basically be done. So I think I'm going to finish it today. I've got a couple things in the mail I need to wait for to completely get this system up and running. But as far as the actual RDWC build itself, it is almost there. Got to do the Waterfall part, and I'll definitely do some leak tests, which is going to be I'm a little worried about doing a 60-gallon leak test in my house, or however many gallons go in this thing. But I won't have to do 60. I can probably check this entire system at once, not just one side at a time, with probably about you know what, I will test once. I don't know how I'm going to test. Either way, I can probably test the leak check maybe 20 gallons. But I'll probably just go ahead and fill up a whole system worth of nutrient water and go for it. But either way, I'll be back when I've got that last module in place, and I'm starting to put in the and talk about the Waterfall manifold. Okay, back in a second. Okay, for the drainage manifold, I went kind of cookie cutter pieces where I let the pieces determine where the bins ended up. So like I said, I basically built this side with these in the right spots, and I made the exact same size pipes and built it over here, and then put the buckets in the right spot to match that, and it basically worked out pretty well. So these things are right in the middle of their squares, and I didn't have to measure where the buckets went. I just had to put in the exact same identical pieces over there as I did over here. For the Waterfall manifold, I do it a different way. So for the Waterfall manifold, I just do it like basically piece by piece, going back to the reservoir, and then once I get there, I'm gonna have to do like a piece together, a little puzzle to get the pump and all the ball valves and everything else in there in the right spots. So first thing, I just basically come from the buckets. I have to get these things, I had to get the lids spun to the right angle where these things are where I want them. So it's basically right there on the edge of the bucket where the collar kind of splits the edge of the bucket right here. I did it on each of these, so they'll be identical for the, or as close as I can get at least. But either way, I'm gonna go piece by piece. I'm gonna make the first piece across here, try and make it even with a T in the middle, going that way, and I'll stop there, and then I'll basically build the pieces that go straight into the reservoir over there. But yeah, this is a piece by piece, isn't a cookie cutter to the other side type deal. This is I go just piece by piece in towards the bucket, and then same on the other side, and then down into the reservoir, build the other little, puzzle there with the plumbing. So I'll come back when I built the first piece of this. All right, here is the complete Waterfall manifold for this side over here. Like I said before, I just started here, got these two pieces even, put them to a T in the middle, everything looks nice and straight, and I ran it into a bulkhead in the side of the bucket over there. I went ahead and put bulkhead across the bucket over there that's even with are basically lined up with this one. I'm gonna have a T. When it comes up from the pump, it's gonna go into a T and go both sides. So that's what that looks like. It has, what am I saying here? Anyway, so yeah, that's what that looks like. It is done on this side completely. I'm gonna do the other side real quick. I need to build the, I'll build the other side of the manifolds. And once I have both manifolds built and going into the bucket here, or the reservoir, then I'll put the pump in here and start building my, basically I have to build a pipe up from the pump, and it's gonna be breaking off into these two. I'm gonna have probably a union ball valve here, just so I can take the pump out real easy. But it'll be breaking off into these two here, and then it'll be also probably coming off this way and going out here to go over to my chiller, which I'm going to put down here, which is a little funky, but it's going to be pretty neat, I think. So, like I said, I'm going to have it coming out here, going into the chiller over here, and back into the chiller here. So, hopefully that'll work out well. I'm going to basically put the chiller there over the pipes on top of a couple of more cinder blocks here. But yeah, that's about all I'm going to do here, and this thing is almost done. Shouldn't take too long. My girlfriend's helping me right now, so shout out my girlfriend. But yeah, I'll be done here. Definitely with the plumbing part of this tonight. I still have to do some other things like finish these modules with putting air stones and air lines in and hanging air pumps and things like that. But other than that, everything is looking pretty dang good and pretty dang done. So either way, I'll be back in a second when I get all this put in, and then we'll start messing with the pump. Okay, so here's where I'm at now. I decided a while back actually that this was the best place to put my chiller. So it's kind of out of the way. So I have it basically kind of helping to protect the pipes here on this side. It's on 2 cinder blocks, just like everything else in this room. On 2 cinder blocks, over this side over here, under the waterfall piping. And it's going to be coming in here from the pump and then back into the reservoir, splashing in there some. But they didn't have the pieces I wanted at Home Depot, so I'm gonna have to do it a little bit funky. But either way, so I'm gonna have to put in this. This is what I'm gonna do for the chiller. I'm gonna have my little T here going down, but underneath the T, I'm gonna have, too many things in my hands. Underneath this T that's going down the pump, I'm gonna have this branching off to the side, and then I'll have the 90 degree here shooting the chiller water, sorry. So this is gonna be hanging off the side, 90 degree T is gonna, or 90 degree elbow is gonna be shooting this way for the chiller water, come out here, and it'll be coming in here and out here. And I'll probably still want to wrap it the water returning somewhere on this side as well, because the side I'm going to be working on, if I do anything in this thing, it'll be that side over there. So I'm going to have both chiller hoses coming out of this end of the barrel. It's okay because it's just hose, so it's not a big deal if I stretch it around a little bit. But either way, I'm going to get going on that, and I'll come back. And by the way, I'm doing this whole manifold in here before doing this side. Actually, I guess I could take the units off, but this way I can, push the thing out to make sure I can fit all the pieces in here without a problem. But I'll be doing this first, and then I'll be doing that side, and then I'll be done. Okay, I thought I was going to do an elbow for the chiller output here, but I'm actually just going to put this little T on here. It's going to come straight up from the pump and be directly underneath this other bulkhead, and that's how that's going to be. So I will go ahead and, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on there, drill another bulkhead, and then put a pipe out there with a hose on it and run it over the chiller. And when the chiller comes back, I'm going to just drill another bulkhead right there next to it and just have it splashing in right there. So let me go ahead and put this piece on there and see how that works out. Okay, I just put on this little T here, and I just drilled the bulkhead that is supposed to be the outgoing to the chiller. And now I just have to get this little piece through the bulkhead here and that'll basically be out to the chiller. I still have to deburr this hole, but the point is it's going to go through this hole. If I didn't have this union here and I had this thing hooked up over here, this would be a real pain to do what I'm about to do. But since I can take off this union and just flex the trash can around and loosen up this nut here, this is actually going to be really easy to do what I'm about to do. So now I can actually, let me unscrew this. So now I've got those two things loosened up. I can use this real easy to put the other pieces through and hook everything up without it being real pain as far as wrenching things in there and doing weird stuff. So either way, I'm gonna do that and I'll come back in a second. Okay, I just finished up an intense session of Legos for big boys. So first I disconnected this and then hooked up the line out in the bulkhead to the chiller line. So that's the first thing I did. I hooked this apart, and then once I got that hooked in, I tightened everything back up over here and put in this piece. Was the trickiest one so far because I had to basically do a little bit of wrenching and bending with a trash can to make everything fit there. But either way, I got it in and everything looks good now. Everything's tight and solid and glued in here. So next step, since I don't think I have a T to finish this side, but I'll go look in my garage. I might have a T. I've done a lot of half-inch PVC crap lately. But either way, so the next thing I need to do is drill the return from the chiller. Just a little bulkhead here. Nothing special. That's just going to be a straight line going in, piece of cake type thing, hopefully. But yeah, I'll have the return right next to this, as close as I can get it so the tube or the hose can go fit in there too. So I will drill that and I'll hook up all the hoses for the chiller, and then I'll come back and then I'll have to start working on the part that goes down the pump, getting it to a 3/4 inch because 3/4 is the only thing that fits on these pumps. But either way, I'll come back when I got the chiller all set up. Okay, I am back, and this whole side over here with the chiller is complete. So we got is obviously the line coming from the pump through this ball valve into the chiller and back into the reservoir from the chiller. I'll put this ball valve on here in case I got a couple options to do water changes from, basically to pump the water out. But I'm thinking what I may do for the water changes is turn all those off except for this one and just pump it straight out that way because it goes out the door basically. So I've got a lot of options for water changes here, but I definitely need ball valves to be able to close down the rest of the outlets for the water so the water goes out the one I want when I'm changing water. But either way, so this thing is pretty much all the way done on this side. All the hoses, all the PVC, everything's glued tight and good, tightened up and ready to go. I still need to do this side. I'm gonna go out in my garage and look for an extra T for this part on that side. I can't believe I didn't buy enough T's, which is weird. I think I have one in my garage. I should have one out there. So I gotta do this side over here for the waterfall. And then I have to do the inside here with the pump. Like I said, the pump comes out. The pump only has fittings for 3/4 is the smallest pipe that this thing has fittings for. So I gotta reduce the 3/4 into the 1/2 inch before it goes here. What I'm probably gonna do is, I think I have a 3/4 inch union. So I'm probably gonna put a union there so I can take it apart easy. But yeah, that's what I've got down here is this, just basically just coming straight up into that pipe and I'll be good to go. So I'll start on that, see if I can find that 3/4 inch union I think I have and get this thing done. So it'll be, reducer will be right up here at the top, right before it goes in the 1/2 inch area here. Then the 3/4 inch union, and then just a little pipe down to the pump. So let me get that done. I'll come back and show you when that's finished. Okay, now we're done with the chiller, this side manifold, and the inside of this thing. I am done with the pump, I guess standpipe, what do you want to call it? The pipe coming off the pump going up in here. So it came from this pump, smallest attachment for this pump is 3/4 inch PVC pipe. So I used 3/4 inch PVC pipe, to this union right here. I've said it before in videos, but the reason I put these videos, I put the sticky. Anyway, I put the this piece that tightens down. I put it on the top side, so when I take it off, it doesn't go falling down in there. Also, the bottom side is the one with the O-ring, the gasket, so that way I can see the gasket too and make sure it's there. So I always, when I'm doing pipes up and down, I always put the collar side on the upside, so the collar is going down. You screw it down onto the other pipe. Anyway, yeah. So this was a plumbing precision challenge here, but I got it worked out pretty good. So this pump is basically on the ground in there, right? There's no nothing jammed in any direction. It's not hanging. All these are fitting pretty well. The side of the bucket isn't bulging. It's all right on. So I'm pretty proud of the way this turned out in this reservoir here. This is some of the best, most precise measuring that's worked out for me in a while. But either way, so that's done. Now it's time to move on to the last waterfall side over here and get that done. Hey, it's the next day and I was able to go to Home Depot and get that T over there that I was missing. But I just got done finishing everything up as far as the manifolds go. So everything plumbing wise, if I'm not mistaken, is done here. All the pipes, all the valves, all the things that go to the chiller, everything else, all the plumbing is done. So now I just need to put on a few more bells and whistles on the whole thing, like this. I hooked up the air pump to these two over here, and then I've got the leads on the other buckets over there waiting. I gotta cut some more air line and hook up a different air pump over here. So I've got these air lines go into the bucket, and two of them splits into four. So I'm having 4 air stones per bucket. So I've decided I just use 2 big air pumps, one for each 8 air stones, which should be good. Should put out a lot of bubbles in each of these bins. But they always tell me the more air, the better. So I'm gonna go ahead and overdo it slightly with the air. But I hung those up with some little like tie down type weird pieces I found on Amazon. But I'll do the same thing over here, and then after that I'll start worrying about the electrical, where I'm going to put fans and wires and hanging and things like that. But that's not really the RDWC build. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm making water right now, making nutrient water right now, or I'm making water so I can mix up nutrient water. So I'm going to mix up nutrient water probably tonight, and then I'm going to fill this thing up and test it out, and that'll be about a wrap for this thing. Oh, and I got to do a few more things. See that I don't have the covers for the bulkhead pipe there. I'm basically going to put a big pan over it, kind of, so the roots don't go straight down in there. So I'll be doing that in a second here. But like I said, as far as the plumbing goes in here, it's done. I'll be back with the finishing touches and the leak check and have this thing running and show you how it all looks. See you in a second. I'm back. I got the air lines hooked up, or the air pump and the air lines hooked up on the other side over there. So I got both air pumps hooked up. I don't have anything plugged in, obviously, but ran those all the way down, 2 lines to each bucket. And here's what's inside each bucket, or gonna be inside each bucket. I haven't put them all in yet. Here's what's inside each bucket. 2 air lines coming in. Each air line splits off into 2. So I've got 4 air stones here. So there's 8 air stones total running off of each 102 watt VivoSun air pump. And then I've got these little pans in here, basically to cover the bulkhead hole, so the roots don't just like dump straight down the hole. I made 4 of these, 1 for each bin, and these have little holes basically to let the water in on the sides. I put a couple holes on the top just in case some bubbles get inside here, so it'll let the air out. And then besides that, so that's what's inside the bin. And besides that, what I've been doing, I put these little bells and whistles type thing over here. I put the fan up, and I really like the way this mounted up there on this, using the maker pipe stuff. Basically threw up another pipe up there, used some EMT clamps to clamp this board on here, and then obviously mounted the fan. So I really like the way this thing is blowing. It looks like it's going to give me some sweet airflow in here, actually blasting straight down on the plants or wherever I want to angle it. These things are really good with the angles, but I really like the way that's looking right now. So I'm probably going to put that up on the other side as well. I'm probably going to throw in another fan right there opposing this one. That way I'll get all these plants covered with some pretty good airflow from the top, and then I throw a couple of fans down the bottom. That should be good on the airflow, like more than good. This is low right now, and these things put out some decent air, or wind. But either way, so I've got all this stuff done basically. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the air stones and the rest of these sites, and then right now I've got my water, making water. I'm not gonna make exactly enough for this system to be full the way it's supposed to be, but I'm gonna make enough to run the pumps and get it over the air stones, and basically just run the thing like it's gonna run. It'll obviously be low water because I'm only gonna make about 40 gallons. I think to get the water to the right level, I'm thinking I'll be somewhere around 50 to 60 range for total water volume here. But let me go get my 40 gallons made, and I'll come back when that's all made, and I'm filling this sucker up, and we'll get the pumps running and everything else, and hope everything doesn't leak. Okay, I'm back. And everything is hooked up now. I know it looks like electrical madness in here, but I basically just got 4 outlets running, fan. As soon as I turn in the pump, or as soon as I plug in the pump, that'll be on. So the fan, the pump, the air pump to show the air stones, and the my water change pump is gonna be pumping it into the reservoir. So this is what's going on. I just got done making this water, the nutrient water. So this is gonna be basically the this will basically be the probably the most negligent or reckless leak check I've ever done, because I'm doing it, 1, in my house, 2, I'm doing the whole system all at once. I'm going to use a reservoir to pump all the water in the rest of the buckets. So I'm going to be checking, let's see how many bulkheads I'm going to be checking. I'm going to be checking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major bulkheads that are drainage bulkheads. I'm going to be checking, I went around and I tightened up all the these ball valve unions. Hopefully I did, at least. So I'm going to be checking 6 bulkheads right now. I'm going to be checking 2, 4, 8, 12, 16 of these ball valve couplings. Make sure they're tightened up. 17, 18, 19, 20 of those. And all these hoses and clamps and stuff like that up here at the bucket as well. So more like, yeah, it's gonna be it's a ton of places where it can leak. But either way, I'm gonna hope for the best here and just go ahead and see what happens. So let me hold on a second while I plug this in. Where's the plug? There it is. Okay. So hold on. Okay, now we got water running in the reservoir. So if we get a leak on the reservoir bulkheads, that is a bad start, but we're gonna let it fill up a little bit here first and see how it goes before I start pumping to the other bins. Right now it looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and plug in the pump for the circulation pump for the system. That doesn't look like it's coming up fast. Oh, it's going in the pipes. It doesn't need the pump actually to go to fill up the pipes. So I'm filling up all these pipes right now. We're doing a bottom half of this check right now, it looks like, I guess. I don't need to plug in this pump because, like I said, it's filling up the pipes right now, going backwards. It's going out all the drainage pipes are supposed to head back here. But now it looks like all those are getting filled up. And actually I can't look in here, unfortunately, because I put in all my covers. But we'll see soon enough. I don't see any water. God, it looks wet because that stupid glue. That's scary. But yeah, that's just the JB plastic weld epoxy stuff. It makes the bulkheads look wet, which it's just tight. Either way, now is a good time for me to go around and look at stuff, but I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in instead. So instead of being safe, we're gonna go all the way dangerous here. We got the pump on. Let's see what it's pumping up to. Whoa, there they go. I hear them. So let's look around for any leaks real quick. There it is, plastic in the reservoir there. Same thing with the rest. I put a net pot here, I don't know why. Same thing with the rest of these, blasting in. And over here, everywhere is blasting nice and good. I got some good flow on all these. What is that? I bet it might be 100. No, it's at 80. Let's see what goes up to 100 here. No, that's basically 100%. I don't know what the numbers all mean on the pumps, but this is a basically full blast. What I'm probably going to do here, so I have the, you can see the chiller is up super fast right now, and there's a lot of water going through the chiller. So what I may do is just crank this ball valve, just close the smidge. There we go. That's a decent rate through the chiller right there. So I'll keep the rate through the chiller a little bit slower and crank on the rest of these. That looks good. Okay, so these are coming out good and hard, splashing everywhere. Let's see what's down here. Yep. Yeah, all four of them are getting equal flow, so that's good. And then basically, that's the whole point of making all these things equal distance from the reservoir, equal distance from the tees, is that all the flow is identical, hopefully. So far, I'm not feeling or seeing any leaks. Of course, I haven't been checking too much because I'm more concerned with talking and filming here. But so far, so good on no leaks, no water laying around anywhere. We're still filling up the reservoir. We're still filling up the bucket with what I got over here. So that's about, this is a system with about, let's say about 25 to 30 gallons in it. So this thing might not take as many gallons, well, yeah, it's still got to fill up a long ways. So yeah, that's about 25 to 30 gallons. And that got me water into the buckets. And about at least, I would say 3 or 4 inches up in the buckets is what this 30 gallons is getting me. So I'm guessing the total water volume probably somewhere between low 50s, like I was saying, probably around 52 when I get to the right level underneath the net pots. Everything looks good. Those little covers there are staying where they should, so they're not floating. Oh, let me go over here and look at the bubbles now that we got water in here. So here's the 4 bubblers going. And those look pretty good. I guess it would look more spectacular if there was not so much splashy water here. We can't see it, but there's a lot of bubbles in there. They're all coming up the sides, but I'm guessing they'll disperse if once the water gets a little higher. But either way, so far so good. It seems like it's all working here. Yeah, this is a mess. So the next thing I have to do in this room, obviously, is I'm going to do a few electrical panels. I say panels. What I mean is, basically, I'm going to mount a few different electrical plug outlet things. And I'm going to mount them the same way I did with this EMT clips and with the EMT clips and the wood around the 3/4 inch EMT. So let's see how I'm doing over here on the reservoir. I think it's getting pretty empty. Yep, it is getting pretty empty. It's almost done. Let me get over there. Anyway, I'm going to come back in a second, and I'll let you know if anything leaks. But I'm going to actually pay attention to what I'm doing now. So be back in a second. All right. Well, there was one of 2 ways that this leak check should have gone, or could have gone. Way 1 is there's a leak, and I gotta run all the water back in the freaking trash can as quick as I can. The nutrient water, not just water, the nutrient water. Run all the nutrient water back in the trash can as fast as I can. Or option 2, which is there's no leaks, and I can take that trash can, empty the rest of it in there, and then go start filling it up again so I can get this system all the way full. And that's what happened. Option number 2. There are no leaks that I've found yet, and I took the trash can in there to fill up the rest of the way and to top off the system and get ready for the plants to move over. The plants are ready to move over. They've been ready to move over, but now they're finally going to get a RDWC home instead of a top fed system that they're in right now. But yeah, so everything looks awesome. I'm happy with the way everything looks. I need to go wipe everything down. So I'll be putting my plants in here basically, well, I got the fan going. I'm probably gonna use, either way, I'm gonna get my plants in here within the next day or two. And it's going to be, as soon as I can get I've got a couple of electrical type connections coming in the mail. So as soon as I can get those electrical connections in the mail, I am going to go ahead and jam these plants in this system, and you'll be able to watch this thing go, and you'll get to see it, how well it can grow and how big of plants I can get out of this baby. But either way, if you watch this far, I know it was a long video and real chunky, segmented, little clips of me talking a lot, but if you watch this far, I appreciate it. If you haven't yet, please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys. I'm not even sure what's coming next. Obviously, I'm going to post a video about putting the plants in here and how they're doing, and keep the series going. But yeah, if you guys want to see any of my other builds, go check out my YouTube page. Obviously, click on my name and then hit my playlist. And I got a whole folder full of builds with different kinds of builds, and I got a couple more coming up that I'm planning on doing, but I'm not sure how soon those will be. But either way, this one went well. I'm happy with how it turned out. It wasn't the cheapest build, but it's pretty freaking sweet and versatile, and I'm happy with it. So either way, watch this far, I appreciate you, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.